Why is it important to dig in and look at the technologies that you have?
The one thing to me is about the data, right? So if you have multiple systems and your data is living in multiple places, what we often see in companies, you've probably seen it too, Brandy, is that there's no source of truth, right? So if they have an ERP system, they have another system for accounting, they have another system for their CRM, and there's multiple sets of data, right, for the same customer in all these different places, and nothing's connected. No one knows what is the most updated information. And so I think that becomes a real hindrance, especially for companies that deal in any significant volume of data. You're really serving a disservice to not only to your customer, but also to your team. Because it's quite embarrassing. Just an example would be if a new salesperson was reaching out and didn't know that person just placed an order a month ago. Oh, we're following up, Mr. Johnson. We haven't heard from you in a while. What are you talking about? We just placed an order last month, right? It comes across that you're disjointed as a company, and it starts making Mr. Johnson start thinking, okay, am I doing business with the right business company? Should I be going to somebody that's more buttoned up? So I think that's really important, is the data aspect. And the other aspect too is just productivity in general. Again, if you have different systems, what we often seen is that you have individuals at that company that are manually exporting data and then updating it to another system, where a sales manager is asking for reports and that report isn't accessible. So what are they doing, Brandy? They're downloading different data from different systems, putting them into a spreadsheet, hoping that everything's correct, hoping there's no human errors, which we both know there always is accidentally. And it takes a lot of time. So if you start thinking about how many hours is my team or my individual person here at the company spending doing all these manual tasks because of these inefficiencies, and it starts really ramping up, and it's quite alarming.
And it seems like there is just this consensus that dirty data or incomplete data is just a thing that is, and everybody just accepts.
Nobody wants to deal with it, really. It's like telling my 12-year-old daughter, you need to go clean your room. And she's like, but Dad, I'll do it later. And she keeps procrastinating because ultimately she's like, it's fine. It's my room. What is it? Who cares? And it's the same thing with the data. As silly as it sounds, this company is, yeah, but what does it matter? It does matter. And but it takes a commitment. And that's the biggest thing, I think, Brandy, is that for anybody listening today is you just have to do it. And maybe it's overwhelming, and certainly can be, but break it into silos. We usually start, okay, we're in August right now. So if we're taking on a new client, we'll say, let's go back into the last 6 months if we can, or back until January 1st. And let's look at that data. And then once all that's cleaned up, then we'll go back to 2023. Then we'll go back to 2022 if we can. And that might take some time, but you're breaking it into smaller segments, which is a lot more manageable than trying to look at data for the last 5, 10, 20 years.